as a small business owner, many of us tend to work really, really long hours. And, even though that's going to help us get the dream, it does have an impact. It tends to cost us one of our most vital assets, and that's our health. So today, I wanted to bring on somebody who can give us some great tips to fuel up our power source, but also to go behind the scenes, what it's like to create a business with your passion called health. So I'm Melanie Benson Strick. I'm America's leading small business optimizer. If we haven't met yet, I'm really glad you're here. This is a fun show with lots of great behind the scenes tips on how to optimize the business that you're most passionate about. And what that means for you is little things that make a huge impact, not just on your bottom line, but on the level of fun and impact that you get to have. So let me introduce my guest today, someone I'm really excited to bring on, Gina Ruby. Now, Gina is a certified health coach and life strategist, and it is her passion to help people create extraordinary health, wealth, and relationships in their life with her revolutionary step-by-step process, which we'll learn a little bit more today about. Plus, we get the added bonus of going behind the scenes and finding out what's worked for her and, what do we have to avoid that we can learn from her own lessons and pitfalls. So, Gina, so glad you could be with us today on the Small Business Optimizer.
Thank you, Melanie. It's a total treat to be here, so thank you for having me.
And you probably get to talk about something that you don't always talk about, which is your business instead of just,
Yes,
the health side of things, which of course they all go together. Our health is
absolutely.
such a key part to, as an entrepreneur, what fuels our ability to keep going.
Yep, absolutely. They go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah, I definitely have learned that firsthand because when my health is
hmm
not where it needs to be, my business definitely suffers. I know a lot of people that, they've had that same experience.
Yep, and I'll go into in just a little bit the 5 healthy habits to grow your business, not your waistline. So just give them some healthy
Ah,
tips on what to do on a daily basis to
love
thrive
it.
business and thrive with your health.
Ooh, this is good. I can't wait to hear what
Yeah.
you're going to come up with.
Yep.
Well, let's start with why you decided to get a business about health as your focus in life.
Yep. It goes way back to when I was 9 years old. And it's pretty cool how kids a lot of times know what they want to do when they grow up.
Hmm. Hmm.
But for whatever reasons, those dreams kind of get stifled or squished, or, you can't make money doing that. So they pursue something they can make money at, but not necessarily their passion.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just turned 51 last Friday. So
Holy smokes.
feeling
Okay, wait.
good.
Applause. Applause. You
Yay!
look fantastic.
Thank you. But way back, so 9 years old, we're talking 41 years ago, I had a friend, I was in fifth grade, and a friend of mine was overweight and not severely overweight, but she got made fun of and got picked on just because she was overweight. And I remembered then in my heart of hearts saying, when I grow up, I'm going to help people not be overweight. And I didn't know what that would look like. And of course, when I graduated, there weren't kinesiologists and registered dietitians and the plethora of kind of holistic avenues to pursue these days. So I pursued music. I was good at it, got my degree, got married, acted and modeled for 15 years. And then 2002, my life took a dramatic turn. And my 13-year marriage came to an end. I had no money, no assets. And I was pushing 40, that infamous 40. And I thought, I have the chance to start over, reinvent myself, and figure out really what is my passion.
Mm.
And my passion went back to when I was 9 years old. I wanted to make a significant impact on society and help people not be overweight. And now I have the perfect tool. There's so many wonderful health coaches these days. And so of course I did a lot of personal development. 40 is an interesting age, especially when you're kind of reinventing yourself. So
Yeah.
I took lots of personal development, worked on my mindset, found the avenue that I wanted to do with health coaching, and created my business from there. So even though I've never been overweight, I've helped hundreds of people over the last decade lose hundreds or probably thousands of pounds and really reclaim their joy, their health, their peace, their passion
Mm.
back. So it's been a 41, it was a 48 year at that time, a 30-year-old dream that I finally got to start living.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've had my own ups and downs. I've always been pretty much in shape, but the last 10 years, turning
Mhm.
40 changed a
Yeah.
lot of things for me, and it really made you more aware. And I realized that there was a lot of times in my business that my performance or my motivation or my inspiration would be up or down depending on how good I felt in my body. And I'm wondering, do you tend to get a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners who find that their business is having an effect to their wellness and their physical experience?
Absolutely. There's statistics out there that say, and it's just a stat, doesn't mean it affects 100% of everybody, but there's enough people to give it some evidence that people who are overweight have less productivity. And you think about it, if you're carrying around a 30-pound backpack every day or a 150-pound backpack, it's going to sap our energy. So there's less productivity, less energy, more sick days because excess weight on the body can affect our immune system, which can affect your bottom line, whether you're an
Hmm.
entrepreneur or you work for a company. And so when you reverse all that, when you get to a healthy weight, you have more energy, obviously, which can create more productivity, which can create higher revenue. And bottom line, people judge a book by its cover, and it's
Yeah.
not right. It's not fair, but it is what it is. Until we're all blind, people judge a book by its cover. And so really being your healthiest version of you is going to be the best foot forward that you can give somebody else on making hopefully an accurate impression of you. And it
Yeah.
affects our business.
It does, and I work with a lot of speakers, and there's a lot of people who use speaking to help them, build their business. And I think it's such a public way in which we're presenting ourselves and our
Right.
image and the way in which people experience us. And not to mention the fact that you're on the road a lot and you're pulling long hours and doing all of this stuff on the road. You're eating differently. I don't know if you've worked with speakers, but I know that tends to be a huge issue as well.
Yeah, food is fuel. So you're either putting good fuel into your body or cruddy fuel. And it's just fascinating how people will, they'll use high grade fuel for their Mercedes or their
Mm-hmm.
BMWs, and yet they're pulling into McDonald's or Taco Bell and putting food into their body that's not going to contribute to any health in their body, and it's going to continue to sap their energy.
Yeah.
And I always say, you know, when I was little, my mom had a Ford Falcon, and the change oil light came on. And she just was tired of seeing that light, so she put a Band-Aid over it. And my dad was like, "What's the Band-Aid for?" And she goes, "Well, I'm tired of seeing the red light." He's like, "Ah, you ignore that red light too long, your car is going to seize up and die."
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same. Our body sends us signals every day with whether it's high cholesterol or high blood pressure, diabetes, or sleep apnea or joint pain. If there's excess weight, it's sending us really vivid signals,
Mm-hmm.
and to just mask it with, just a medication and not really trying to get to the root problem, it can have a long-term effect on ourselves. And I like to do that whole prevention part. There's a time and a place for medications, but there's so much we can prevent and reduce that we don't have to just medicate. We can actually get healthy and thrive.
Oh my
And that's my
gosh,
whole goal.
so true. And after investing a lot of money in alternative as well as regular doctors to maintain my health
Good.
over the years, I definitely wish I could go back and do some things different.
I know. Live and learn.
Well, so what do you think is the biggest contributor to the health challenges that we're having? You mentioned the McDonald's, you mentioned, not paying attention. But what do you think is really the biggest contributor to a lot of the health issues we have today?
Well, definitely anybody I could ask on the street, whether they're at a healthy weight or overweight, they can all tell me how to lose weight. Calories in, calories out, do more exercise. So there obviously has to be something more to
Hmm.
really taking the steps to losing weight and getting healthy. Or just because someone's skinny doesn't mean they're healthy. So really integrating some healthy habits with someone who's at a healthy weight. So the biggest challenge is right up here, our little brain, and whether someone thinks they don't deserve it, or it's just too hard, or they love their food, and it's I take people through a process of, let's figure out your triggers, let's figure out why you overeat. Is it just bad habits and poor time management,
Hmm.
or is there really a strong connection there? And once we get their current reality of what their mindset is, that's where the shifts can start going here, which really create a different habit of what they eat. We always hear knowledge is power. Well, anybody can tell us how to lose weight. So all that knowledge, it ain't power. So I say knowledge applied is rocket ship power. Once they apply all that amazing information, then they can really see some positive results.
And
Whether
in
it's,
the application, I'm assuming you mean really developing better habits and
yes.
being consistent with things rather than, I see a lot of people do this in their business, but I'm sure it happens in health too. It's like we do what we have to do when we feel bad,
Hmm.
aka in your business, we do what we have to do when the cash flow's down, instead of doing the right things all the time. And this consistency builds up and creates momentum, and then that becomes the rule rather than the exception.
Right, really thinking forward rather than that rocking chair, like, oh, I lost weight. Okay, now I can eat bad again. Oh, I gotta lose weight. Oh, I lost weight. It's just this oscillating pattern as opposed to helping people continue to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
What's my current reality? Where do I want to be in 30 days? Once I reach that, okay, great. Now, where do I want to be in the next 30 days? And continuing, whether it's business, revenue, health, relationships, where do I want to go? And if nobody has a vision in their brain of where they want to go, it's super easy just to kind of like bounce right back where they were and make no lifestyle change or, change in their business. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always having goals. Where do I want to go next? And where do I want to go next to keep them moving forward? Because the brain, it likes comfort and it'll try to jerk us back every time because it knows how to be poor or overweight or in bad relationships. All those unknowns freaks the brain out, and its job is to keep us safe. So that's why accountability is huge, and having a goal, having a plan, and really working on mindset is
It's funny
major.
you brought up mindset because I mentioned to you earlier, I pre-record these shows, and everybody I've talked to today, their thing was mindset. There's a common thread here,
It's the treasure
Well,
of
and
life.
in the optimizing side, my three pillars are your mindset, your habits, and your strategies.
Hmm.
And those three things working together, but the strategies and the habits don't work without the mindset. You've got to
Yep.
start the mindset, and I think it's the same with relationship success, same with health success, prosperity, whatever you want to focus on.
Yep. And I would say the super glue to all that, your mindset, your strategies, your habits, is accountability. Because as
Mm.
entrepreneurs, we're our own boss and we're not going to really fire ourselves if we don't get something done or if we didn't really achieve whatever we wanted to achieve. So that accountability with somebody else, encouraging, inspiring, and sometimes giving us a little kick in the tush to
Yeah,
keep us moving forward, to get us out of that comfort.
yeah,
So,
well said. So you mentioned earlier these 5 tips, and I
mhm.
love when we can kind of give people something to take away and they can listen in and say, okay, I know how to go put something in action right away. Let's go into those 5 tips, and then I want to go behind the scenes a little bit of your business, Gina.
Oh, good. The 5 tips, and this is not going to be anything new, but hopefully, whether it's just a good reminder or I can give the listeners some reasons why it's important.
Okay.
And the first one is breakfast.
Mm.
We've learned it since we were in first grade. Eat your breakfast. But breakfast doesn't consist of orange juice and a donut. It really needs to be something healthy. So protein and a complex carbohydrate. So it could
Mm-hmm.
be steel cut oats with almonds or scrambled eggs with veggies, something that's going to give the body some really good fuel to
Mm-hmm.
start your day. And I always say it's like starting your metabolism engine for the day. So the quicker you eat breakfast, the quicker you've started that engine. So breakfast, breakfast, breakfast. You're breaking your fast. And then space those meals every 2.5 to 3 hours apart in the day. So you'd be getting, breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, afternoon, snack, dinner, and then something healthy after dinner, which, I'm 51 years old. My generation was like, don't eat after 7. But that's ice cream and cookies and all that. Something
Mm-hmm.
healthy, hummus and celery or some broccoli, something healthy before bed is fine because our body's still working when we sleep. So breakfast, eat 5 to 6 low-fat meals a day, and then really practice moderation with your bread, rice, pasta, dairy, desserts, alcohol, all the sugar foods, moderation. The third habit is water, water, water,
Mm.
water. It's the nectar of the gods. It helps with digestion, it helps with metabolism, and it helps with hydration. Our skin needs hydrated, our organs need hydrated, and then the fourth habit is my favorite. It's sleep. So
Mine
many,
too.
yeah, yay, we got sleep, and it's free. You cost nothing to sleep. And many entrepreneurs and business people think sleep is a luxury, and it really
Exactly.
isn't. We're creating cells and hormones and all that while we rest. If we get limited sleep, it can affect our cortisol levels, our ghrelin, our leptin, all those things that hold on to fat and can make us hungry the next day.
Mm.
And then the fifth one, of course, is exercise. Just move. Find something you love. If it's hip hop or Zumba or hiking or rollerblading, it doesn't mean you have to be in a gym 5 days a week, but move. park far away from the mall and walk farther, take the stairs, walk your dog, walk your kids, really get out there and move. So it's breakfast, 5 to 6 meals a day, water, sleep, and exercise.
Good one. I can just imagine a conversation coming up right now between a business owner and you about eating every 2.5 hours a day. And I
Yep.
could hear them saying, well, I don't have time, I
Yep.
have so much to do. Like, oh, I have snacks, but they're, like junk. What would you tell someone, maybe like a little technique to really be able to get that good food and make it handy and create that habit? Because I'm saying this because I've had these conversations with
Oh
people
yeah, and
about
it's
eating
hard for me
regularly.
too.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So I'm all for, whole foods are great,
Hmm.
but sometimes people don't have time to do, brown rice and berries for breakfast or whatever. So a protein bar and a protein shake are great to do mid-morning, around 10ish, a
Hmm.
protein bar, a healthy one, not one loaded with sugar and sodium. And then maybe lunch could be, just a can of tuna or a can of chicken on a bed of greens. You just open the can, dump it, have your bed of greens, and you can eat it. Because we all need to take at least 30 minutes of a mind break, let alone an eating break in the midday. The afternoon, a good healthy protein shake, and I would say more spinach and kale and a little bit of fruit, not some Jamba Juice that's loaded with 50 grams of sugar.
Mm.
Dinner can be fish or chicken or turkey or shrimp or Boca burger and some vegetables. And then a couple hours after dinner, again, maybe some hummus and celery. You can do an apple and peanut butter, but not just every night, because again, the apple has a lot of sugar.
Hmm.
But that way, plan it out. It has to be planned. If it's not planned, it won't happen. And then people are skipping meals, slowing down their metabolism, going for the Snickers bar and Coke because they're starving. And then they start to spike their blood sugars and dip and spike. And then that becomes quite an insulin nightmare.
Yeah,
So
and
plan
it's
it.
a hard one to break that once you're in that cycle too,
Yeah.
because your body lies to you. Your
Mm-hmm.
body actually
Yeah.
makes you think it's not hungry, or it makes it think it has to have sugar, and it's
Yeah.
hard to stop it.
And there's a lot of people they don't eat anything until maybe 11 or 12 o'clock or even 1 in the afternoon.
I
So they've
can't do
put their
that.
body in this starvation mode. Their metabolism is just like almost on zero. And then they're wondering why they're starving at 3 and then they're starving at night. Their eating fueling system is all off.
Hmm.
So, I'm happy to coach them if they need some ideas.
So glad you said that. I've had that conversation with people, and it's like, stop. I mean, I'm not a health
Yeah.
coach by any means, but I know when you're not fueling your body properly how it's affecting your
Yeah.
bottom line. That's why I was really excited for you to come on today. So let's take a little bit of a sidestep. I want to
Okay.
pretend like we're just pulling back the curtains on Gina's business, and you've done something that a lot of people want to do but never quite do it, and that is you built your business around a passion and something that you're really excited about. And this is not something that everybody can pull off. So I'm kind of curious, what would you say has been the greatest um, attribute, or the greatest strategy for you to create a successful business doing what you love?
That's a great question because we do need a plan and we do need strategies.
Hmm.
And because we don't know what we don't know. And so it really for me was going outside of myself. I always have business coaches in my life. I have two right now, and it's an investment financially, but the return on investment is amazing. Not just financially, but just peace of mind and knowing I'm really living my purpose. So having someone who's smarter than you to help you through the hurdles of creating your business is a definite must. The others I would say is a lot of personal development. I've taken workshops on conflict resolution and prosperity and appreciation and life patterns. All these things are really knowing yourself so that you can be the best version of you, of who you're offering to people. And then I can also help them go through many of those same steps. So personal development, I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I love reading. Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Jack Canfield, John Assaraf. There's just, our brain needs to consistently be growing.
Hmm.
And then accountability. Accountability is huge because when things get tough, it's
Yeah.
just easy to quit and go, my life's pretty good. Why do I need more?
Right.
And it's not about wanting more or needing more. It's about really just giving back in every way possible we can to others who can learn from our wisdom, our experience, our expertise, and helping make them be the best version of them.
I
So,
love that you brought up the mentors, and I'm a little curious. You said you actually have two business coaches, and some people
yes.
think that's too much, or they even really kind of have a hard time getting their head around investing in one. No, do they focus on different parts of your business, or why two?
Yeah. Two different styles, but
Okay,
and because I'm in a place where I not can afford it because I don't like that word, but I can justify that investment.
right.
It just helps. One helps me strategically do how do I do the website? How do I do my blog? Where do I find speaking engagements?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is kind of an overall life. How do we integrate this into all areas of life? And
Mm.
one's a male, one's a female, and I feel like I'm getting some really good input. It's the best of the best. I always say surround yourself with people who are smarter than you,
Right.
and you don't always have to pay for that. I'm all for finding people smarter than me that I don't have to pay for. But in this instance, because I have big dreams and big audacious goals, I want to have people who've been there, done that, making seven figures so that I know how to get there too. And seven figures simply to continue to give back.
Yeah.
It's my passion.
Yeah. And it's a good distinction you just made about it's not seven figures just for the sake of making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
It's there's a reason why that financial goal is there, and it's bigger than just making your life the way it is. It's there's the philanthropic side, the giving back side, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people they don't understand that creating additional levels of financial prosperity. There, when you're really clear about the reason, and it has such a positive impact in it, that it makes it easier to get there.
Yeah, yes. And it just juices me. I mean, my husband and I love finding charities and missions
Mm.
and organizations that could use sometimes our time, sometimes our financial resources. But when we do that, that's better than any piece of jewelry or car we could ever drive. And we want to continue to do it more and more and
Mm-hmm.
more.
I
So we have a
totally
lot of
agree with you.
passion driving that.
Yeah, it's like your bigger why is bigger than just you, and
Mm-hmm.
it changes things a little bit inside, especially if
Yeah,
your value system is plugged into
yeah.
the giving back side of things.
And people are attracted to that. I think they
Mm-hmm.
like doing business with people who know they're not just a dollar sign.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually contributing to something bigger too, just
Mm-hmm.
by being in our lives. So,
Totally agree. I'm involved in an annual campaign for one of the charities I'm involved in, and it's amazing to see not only how does that shift the people that are giving, but also how it changes your business when you
mhm,
really challenge yourself to step up your giving and to make that a central part of your motivation strategy. I'm fascinated and I love watching it. It's not for everybody.
yeah,
I'm not saying, and I'm sure
right.
you're not either, that everybody should be wired like this, but when you are and you
Yeah,
really plug into that, it's fascinating to see how it shifts things for you.
yep. And when you are wired like that, you're going to know. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to be fulfilled. So it can be
Mm-hmm.
scary, but it's
Yeah.
a fun scary. And I just heard Sandra Yancey, who
Mm-hmm.
created eWomen,
Mm-hmm.
last week. We talked about fear, and everyone's like, fear is the evidence appearing real or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or false evidence.
Yeah,
And
false
she's
evidence
like,
appearing real.
yeah, she's like, you know what? Feel the fear. Don't be afraid of the fear. Feel it and know that, because you feel it, you're on the edge of something amazing and on
Mm-hmm.
the edge of greatness, and then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you don't want to walk down a scary street at 2 in the morning and have that fear. But when it has to do with your business,
Right.
feel it and go, huh, it's kind of scary. And I'm going for it anyway. And it was inspiring and encouraging for all of us to know, okay, if she can get afraid and she's a highly successful entrepreneur, then it's all good.
Yeah,
Just
I think
embrace
if
it.
you're not feeling fear, then there's actually something probably a little off in your wiring. But
Yeah.
here's the way I look at fear, because fear is a big part of what we teach. And I don't know how much you're aware of what we teach here, but one of the things we teach is a money DNA recoding
Mhm.
process. And one of the reasons why I do that is because fear is the number one reason people don't achieve their goals. But here's the way I look at it, and maybe you've seen this too, is fear is a trigger, and it's either triggering a limiting belief or conflict that is rising to the surface that's not a reason to hold back, or it's requesting more information
Mhm.
in order for you to have the okayness to move forward. So it's not a stop sign, it's a
Right.
deal with it or get more information. And that's the
Yeah.
way I've been processing fear for myself.
And it's actually a gift. It's a gift to us to
Hmm.
do one of those two choices
Yeah.
because it keeps us unstuck. If you're not afraid, then you're just a person could be living in mediocrity and comfort
Yep.
and or stuck.
Yeah. Or
And that's
you're
not.
um, what is the word? You're psychotic.
Yeah, yeah. I know. You're just like, oh.
But we're not talking to nobody that's that way would be listening to this
That's right.
podcast.
Way.
Well, speaking of being psychotic, I'm curious, has there been a challenge that surfaced for you on your journey being an entrepreneur that maybe almost took you out of the game, or, was something that, was pretty big for a while?
Sure. Something that's super personal. Of course, when I started health coaching 10 years ago, because I don't have a before and after story, I've
Hmm.
always been healthy. I could have let my mindset go. Why are people going to listen to me? I
Yeah.
haven't been there, done that personally. How could I have any credibility? I didn't allow that to enter my brain because my passion was so deep for so many years. But I have heard that from other health coaches that I train. And I'm like, you know what? We don't have to be a drug addict to really have the passion to want to help somebody because it's about the process coming through. And I
Hmm.
can always connect them with other people who have been there, done that if they want that kind of conversation. So that one, thank goodness, didn't keep me stuck in my fear
A
and the
limiting belief, so to
yeah,
speak,
it's a
that you
little
have to have a negative story to overcome.
yeah. But now the other challenge I would say as an entrepreneur is um, time management and prioritizing things because as entrepreneurs we have lots of ideas
Yeah.
and how do I put them in a concise priority so that they're getting done and not get overwhelmed can be a doozy and that can be an energy sucker. So between blogging and my speaking and my website and my book, there's like so many things I want them done right now that it I have to just like stop and use my mentors and really prioritize what needs to get done. And they'll all get done as long as I'm taking bite-sized chunks and not allowing myself to get paralyzed by
Hmm.
it.
Do you ever get the wild horse syndrome, which is, in case you're not familiar with that term, it's I gotta get all this stuff done right now. I can't get it done fast enough. Oh my God, everything's gonna go crazy if I don't get it done
Yeah.
right now. And then you're like, I can't get it done right now.
Yeah. So I go watch 2 hours of TV to like escape, and then I got nothing done. I've done that before. I
Yeah.
can't think. And that, of course, gets us nowhere, but even farther behind.
Yeah,
So
that's the
learn from me.
paralysis
Don't do
response.
that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just freeze.
It's funny, I call it wild horse syndrome because there are so many people that just like it's so much coming trying to come through at once, and you can't sort it out fast enough. And so you're right, it's prioritization and really getting clear what is important right now and what has to be done and what are the nice to haves, and using your mentors to sort that out if you're struggling with it.
Right, and that's why we're paying them
Hmm.
is for them. And because they've been down a similar road, they have a good idea of how
Right.
to direct. And then obviously the bottom line, it's always my final decision. But if we can learn from their mistakes, like I would love to write a book, but right now I have other pressing commitments. And so the book will get done. And especially it'll get done if I'm just writing little bits every day rather than uh, thinking I'm going to have a whole weekend to write. Well, that's just never going to happen,
Hmm.
which that was my big pipe dream. So now I know just to write bits and pieces and then edit, and that will, sooner than later will get done that way.
So I've had the same situation, by the way, where I keep trying to find time to write my book. I'll just share a little thing that I think I'm going to do that works pretty well for me is, how once in a while there's a month that you have an odd fifth week?
Oh,
So
yes.
here's my little crazy idea. I think I'm going to block off those random fifth weeks and not take appointments. And that becomes my writing time because, in a way, it's kind of like bonus time. Wouldn't you agree?
It's true. And it's all about tricking the brain. I like tricking my brain all the time.
So do I.
So,
I just,
yeah, so do
at a
it.
certain point, your brain just has to like get on board.
Exactly. And the other, I think we talked earlier, your email talked about a game changer.
Yeah, I was going to just
So,
ask you about that.
yeah, so with all the time management, overwhelm, what do I do first? The game changer is to delegate.
Hmm.
And as an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you're the one woman show or one man show. It's really important to delegate, do what you don't like to do or what you don't do best to somebody else. And, of course, I've been told this for 3 years. I'm a slow learner when it comes to that and maybe a bit controlling. But really, I've delegated my bookkeeping. I have a housekeeper. I have somebody who cooks meals because I don't like doing any of those things. And my time isn't best spent doing that.
Hmm.
I do highly um, advocate virtual assistants if you don't have like a part-time person. Again, to do birthday cards, anniversaries, update social media, all those things that can be they're good, but they can be time suckers, and they're not really helping you contribute to where you really are making your revenue the highest value of your revenue. So
So,
delegate, delegate, delegate.
did you say that you heard about delegation for 3 years before you actually
Yeah.
started? So I'm just kind of curious, what was the catalyst that got you over the hump? Because by the way, you're not alone, and the people that, I that come into my, because I have a program called Build Your Dream Team, and people that come in, they've been hearing about it for a while, and they're like, okay, I'm ready, I'm ready. So what was it for you?
Well, the challenge is what comes um, normal and natural to us. We just think, well, I can just do it. Why do I need to delegate it? Why do I need to pay somebody? So there's the financial ROI of figuring that out. But the other part is taking the time to write it down. And this is what I just got overwhelmed thinking about it, so I just didn't do it. I didn't write down the menial tasks that I was doing. Um, because once you write them down, then you have to have systems of, do I do send out cards? Do I do LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook? And what do I want on there? What do I don't want on there? It takes some time to specify all those areas. And I just told myself I don't have time to do that, which is a lie. But, so again, learn from me.
Priorities.
Do it quicker than later, because once you delegate, oh my gosh, it's such peace of mind, and it leaves you more time, maybe not necessarily to do more work, but to take time for self-care and fun and relaxation. So it's not about filling every second with work, because I'm all about life work balance, but taking off what your plate doesn't need to be there, and doing what you love, just doing what you love.
I love that.
Yes.
So, favorite mantra or quote that keeps you inspired when maybe things are feeling a little challenging?
Um, Again, last week when I was listening to Sandra, I wrote down a couple things. I mean, I have, of course, I love Think and Grow Rich, and I love Zig Ziglar quotes, but this one's fresh in my brain. And she said that, um, oh, let's see, I wrote it down. Let me take a quick peek at it. Oh, the enemy of achievement is comfort. And
That's
and
good.
that really rang true to me because I have a really good life. And if my day never got better than it is, it's a great day. It's a great life. But I know I have so much more to give, and I just don't want comfort to sneak into my brain and just and have me settle. And so really that achievement to give more and to make a bigger impact in our world. The enemy of that is comfort. And
So
then the
true.
other, yeah, and then the other piece of advice I would love to share is just take a look at the five business people in your life, the five closest business people in your life, and are they smarter than you, perhaps more successful in different areas? It doesn't matter if it's financially or relationships. If they're not, find five people who are, because those
Yeah.
people, whether they know it or not, they're pouring into your life. And if you're not finding people who have gone farther than you in your journey, then it is an easy time to get complacent and just settle. So,
I'm really glad you shared that one because that has been huge for me. And I think that goes hand in hand with the mindset
mhm,
because the people you're surrounding yourself with, even if it's family, if you're spending more time with your family than you are with people who are infusing that positive, big thinking and really, up leveling your game, you love your family, but your energy will start to match theirs.
exactly. And I'm all about, again, a life learner, growing, moving forward, keeping, and the good thing about mentors and other people who are stronger than you is sometimes we get fog and they can see beyond the fog. They can see
Yes.
around it to what's coming. And so just, there's that story of that swimmer who swam the English Channel, and it was a foggy day. And I think, she just got tired. She was spent. And I don't know the whole story, but what I remember is she stopped like 100 yards from the shore because it was foggy and she couldn't see her, the goal anymore. So she quit like 100 yards from the
And didn't
finish
even
line.
know she was that close.
Yeah, yeah. And you just need people going, no, keep going. You can do it, to get past that 100 yards to total inspiration and joy and fulfillment.
Absolutely. I love it. I love that you shared that. That's great. I keep saying I love it. I love it. I feel like I'm talking to myself when I'm talking to you. I'm like, God, this is so uncanny. It's great. Well, this has been really fantastic, Gina. And I'm just curious. Let's wrap up with what is next for you. I know you're a big thinking entrepreneur, so you've got to have something brewing there that's coming out.
Well, I have a lot. I love speaking. I live in San Diego, and so I love
Hmm,
speaking all over the city. I'm expanding into LA and hopefully across the nation. I love sharing my passion and letting women and men know that every one of us have a God-given purpose and we can live it. There's no holds bar on really living your passion and your fulfillment. Um, my big, audacious, hairy dream is to do an 18-minute TED Talk. And so I'm just putting
nice.
that out there.
A big high
And
five. I see it
yeah,
coming. All right. Woohoo. It's already
yes,
there.
yes. And and just growing, growing my health coach team, growing I do clients one-on-one. So
Hmm.
I do 3 month and 6 month um, uh, kind of a super deep one-to-one personal growth, business growth, relation, whether they're looking for their soulmate or they're looking to create their business, their dream,
Hmm.
along with health. So
Hmm.
those are really fun clients to work with because they're ready to dig deep, work hard, and really create the life they love.
Great. And what's the website where people can find out about your programs and offerings?
www.ginaruby.com. So it's GINARUB as in boy, Y, Ruby like the jewel.
Hmm.
And I'm all over Facebook, so people can always find me on Facebook. I'm super active on Facebook. Of course, I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn, but Facebook has just been a real gold mine for me to connect with other people on getting clients.
Hmm.
People are looking for somebody to help them, and I put that out there for all your listeners. Really utilize Facebook. There's over 1 billion users. The majority are women ages 35 to 65, so there's a huge demographic for us to really have an impact on female entrepreneurs.
Great reminder. Yeah. We have a
Yeah.
lot of social media experts that come on the show. So you guys go back and watch those episodes. We've got Amy Porterfield, Don
Yes.
Crowther, and we've had Donna, Donna Cravota, just some great people, Denise Griffiths. Like, go back and watch the show and some of the great tips that come through. So
Yeah.
Gina, fantastic. It's so nice to connect with someone so like-minded and to have you share some things that I literally would have said them just like you did.
Yay.
But you
Yay.
said
You
them with so
find
much
something.
more passion and power coming from your expertise. So, and we'd love to hear like what was a tip or an insight that really sparked you today. Go ahead and share it in the comments today. You can post it on social media, and when you respond to this, you can, if you're following along on iTunes, pop over and go to melaniebensonstrick.com, and you can head over to the blog and share. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what's popping for you, and I'm sure that Gina would too. So Gina, thanks so much for being here today, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks.